We also have a really great opportunity in partnership with Rio Hondo College. We offer dual enrollment courses on our campus. This semester we have a kinesiology class, and we are planning to offer that another kinesiology class again next semester. So in August, that's a big part of what we're doing is a lot of our students are taking those dual enrollment classes, or they can take a dual enrollment class, for example, at PCC, Rio Hondo, and ELAC. And this is a really great way for students to earn college and high school credit. And it's a great way also for just some enrichment and to explore maybe some career options or things that students are interested in. We also have an after-school CTE course for business, and a lot of our FBLA students will take that course too, but it is open to all students to be able to attend. Another thing that we start off in August is our counseling referrals and services. So I had mentioned earlier that Mr. Saporito is overseeing our wellness center. We're also very fortunate to have a school-based mental health coordinator, Ms. Rosenthal, who also oversees our interns. So if your student, you think they might need some extra support and some mental health support, we do have referrals and services in place for that. Another thing that we do in August is our NCAA eligibility reviews. And this is for our students who are planning to play a sport in college, whether it be D1 or D2. And I'm actually the person who oversees that. So if you are a junior or a senior and you haven't made your NCAA account yet, please shoot me an email as soon as you can so we can get that up and running to review that you're on track with all the requirements that are necessary and get your account up and running. Okay. So that's our August in the counseling world, and it's a lot of information. It's a very, very busy month, and you'll see it continues to get busy. So in September, this is when our counseling department starts meeting with our 12th graders in what we call our Naviance meetings. What does a Naviance meeting look like? So this year, our counseling department has created a video for our seniors to watch, and it outlines the financial aid process along with the application process for 4-year and 2-year college. Okay, this year what the counselors will be doing is in small groups, they'll be hosting a live Q&A webinar for their seniors on their caseload. I highly encourage you to join your Google Classroom for your counselor. They're posting a bunch of great information on there that's all relative to all the things we're mentioning here. And also for the College and Career Center, we've gone virtual, and we do have a Google Classroom also for that. So I highly encourage you to join both of those. In September, we also start our virtual college visits. So typically throughout the school year, we have college admissions counselors who come and they visit Gabrielino, and students can sign up on Naviance. Any grade level is welcome to attend. And from there, you meet with the college admissions rep, and they discuss the requirements and student life and, clubs and everything you could think of. But now what we're doing is we're doing it virtually. So just like I'm meeting with you tonight, we have admissions reps that come in and do the very same thing. And they've been really successful, and we have Cal States, UCs, private schools, community colleges, our military reps, you name it, we've got it. And if there's a school you're really interested in and they haven't visited, please email me and I can reach out to see if they can come for a visit or to try to connect you with them. We also, throughout the year, after each progress report and each quarter grade, we do support our students who are at danger of failing and who need some extra academic support. And this is, again, to make sure that your student is on track to graduate and complete those A through G requirements. Okay, so that's something that's ongoing throughout the year, and you'll see that on upcoming slides. It's about every 5 weeks, but that is something that as the counseling department we're doing to ensure that your students are meeting those requirements. In addition, we do send home grad status letters to our juniors and seniors. Okay, and I already discussed about the Google Classrooms, but again, it's a great resource for you to be able to see all the great things and resources that the counseling department is offering for your student. And the counselors are breaking those up by grade level, so the information that they're posting is relevant to that grade, to the grade level that your student is in.
And Jocelyn, if I could, yep, real quickly, we do have a comment in the chat. Where should someone go? We have a gentleman whose son is a junior this year that haven't received the grade status letter. You're welcome, Joanna. I see that. You can ask questions now. We'll try and keep up with them, but we can also give some time at the end. Where should they go if they haven't received that that status letter?
Well, if they haven't received it, it's probably because their student student is on track for graduation, but I would encourage them to email their counselor if they just want to do a grad check, just to double check that their student's on track, or specifically with their A through G requirements.
Thank you so much. And before we hit that next slide, if I could just remind you to slow down again, just getting some comments from the interpretation rooms, if you don't mind.
No problem.
In our enthusiasm. Thank you so much.
No problem.
You're welcome, Mr. Yu.
So October is really when we say we kick off our college application season. We host various college application workshops, such as our Cal State, UC, Common App, personal statements, and our seniors can sign up for these in Naviance to attend, and they're welcome to attend as many as they would like. And I'm the one that hosts those. This year for the UC Personal Insightful Questions workshops, we do have 2 UC admissions counselors who will be hosting those. So you're really gonna get that time with a person who actually reads these, for a living, and that's what they do. We also, a big part in October is for our Cal Grant. So part of your financial aid for a California school is what's called a Cal Grant. And grants are amazing because it's money you don't have to pay back. And based on your GPA and your income, based on your family size, you could possibly be eligible for a Cal Grant. So each year, the counseling department does upload your GPA with your permission to the database. And then after you submit your FAFSA, which opens actually on October 1st, along with the DREAM Act application, that is matched. So that information goes to the state with your GPA. And then if you were going to attend like a Cal State, for example, or a UC, they would receive that information and they would be able to offer you a Cal Grant as part of your financial aid package. And I mentioned that the FAFSA and the California DREAM Act actually opened on October 1st. The California DREAM Act is for our AB 540 students or undocumented students. It's a very similar application to the FAFSA. And if you have questions, if you're not sure which one you should do, you can always email me and I'm able to direct you in the right way for which one you should complete. And then next Thursday, you can join us again for a financial aid information night at 7 p.m. And this is open to all San Gabriel juniors and seniors. So we encourage all Gabrielino and Del Mar students to come and attend. There'll be information covering Cal Grants, the different types of financial aid, important deadlines, and the different types of applications you can do. Each year in October, we offer our 4-year college fair, but this year, obviously, due to distance learning, all of that has gone virtual. So all of the organizations, such as like the Cal States and the UCs and private schools, have gotten together in small groups to create virtual options for students. So for example, this week, the Cal State, the CSU week was this week. A couple weeks ago, the UCs hosted theirs. And all of this information is posted on our Google Classroom. It's been emailed out to families, and I also post it on our Instagram too for families to be able to do. And then since we haven't had a chance really to get to know our 9th graders, because typically we would meet them in the springtime at Jefferson, and then they would come visit Gabrielino, what we're offering this year is a 9th grade meet and greet with the Gabrielino counselors, and that will be held on October 21st at 11:15, and we look forward to meeting all of the 9th graders. The counselors will all be there in attendance, and we're just going to do a brief overview of who we are and kind of get to know us, and 9th graders will be able to answer questions after that. I'm sorry, they'll be able to ask questions after that, and we'll answer them. And then in addition, in October, after the counselors have done their small group meetings, seniors are able to schedule individual appointments with their counselors or with me too, and that's another option. And I had mentioned on the previous slide that our students take a 9th grade transition class. Well, one thing that we do that's really unique to that class is we offer college campus field trips. And we get to go on a campus and take a tour. And it's been really amazing to be able to do that with 9th graders. Well, this year what we're doing is we're actually offering live virtual tours. So on October 15th, we're offering one for Cal State Fullerton. And it will be a live tour. It's not just a video they'll be watching. And there'll be an admissions rep there to answer questions and also to present to them. So that'll be for 9th graders too. And as I mentioned, we continue our academic support after every progress report and quarter. So that's also continuing in October.
Jocelyn, we have a question here. Can juniors attend the College App Workshop as well?
We really like, because we're actually diving into the application, it's for seniors. And especially right now, we don't really, things have changed so drastically from last year's seniors to this year's seniors.
I bet.
So, yeah, we really want to have those focused on our seniors. But if a junior did have a question or something they wanted to start thinking about or working on, then they can always email me, we can talk about it. Another thing I would also caution too, sometimes personal statements can change the prompts. So we would hate for a junior to start working on it right now and then come next year when it's our time to actually start applying, the prompts have completely changed. But I will get to it at the end of the slide, things that we do offer for juniors to start prepping over summer. So we will get to that in a second.
Wonderful. And I had a few more questions come in. I'm going to just kind of pause for just a moment and say that I'm going to ask a couple of these questions as we go, but for the sake of time, we're going to keep going and get it to a few at the end. This is for our attendees. And I promise if we don't get to every one of them, we'll be saving the chat and we'll be responding as well and sending those out to you. Okay. Wonderful. So here we go.
I'm good to move on. Okay. So November is almost like a continuation of October. We're continuing our app workshops, we're continuing our individual conferences, continuing that academic support that never ends. And this year, something that's a little new is our community colleges have actually moved forward on when their application opens. Typically, it didn't open until second semester, but now Rio Hondo's is actually opened right now. And they are offering ongoing support for our students, but we will start our community college application workshops in November. And PCC has also moved forward on their application open date too. So that's one thing that's new this year for our seniors. So like I said, things do change year to year. So we want to really try to focus on those certain grade levels for certain workshops. The community college application workshop is typically just for seniors. However, if you are a 9th, 10th, or 11th grader and you're planning to do a dual enrollment class at PCC, for example, or Rio Hondo, you're absolutely welcome to attend this application workshop because this is a step you will have to complete in order to enroll in those classes. So a big part of the college application process for private schools is letters of recommendation. Our Cal States don't require letters of recommendation unless you're applying for an EOP program, and the UCs don't require them either. Berkeley may request one, but they'll contact you directly if they need a letter of recommendation, but that's not the standard for everybody. So we do ask that since a lot of the private schools do have a deadline of beginning of January when we're on winter break, that by the first week of December, seniors do request those letters of recommendation with their teacher and their counselor. That gives them ample time to be able to complete the recommendation and get it submitted before we do go on winter break. Another big part in December is we're starting for those second semester schedules. So if a student needs a schedule change to make sure they're meeting graduation or A through G requirements, we're there to help. And then in addition, we'll have another virtual campus tour of UC Santa Barbara. So we don't have to worry about that 2-hour drive up there. We get to hop on Zoom and get a live virtual tour along with a presentation for our 9th graders. And then a big part in December is really focused on our 10th graders. So just like the 12th grade meetings that we discussed earlier, the counseling department will also create a video when they'll have a live Q&A webinar with a small group. And for our 10th graders, what we're doing here is we're reviewing graduation and A through G requirements, and then updating a 4-year plan. So their 4-year plan in Naviance is something that they created in Mrs. Cruz's class, and it outlines the classes that they plan to take over the 4 years. It doesn't lock you into those classes, but it just gives you a chance to kind of explore, and maybe you're interested in art. So you're like, oh great, after I take intro to art, I want to go into graphic design. And this is really a place where you can start exploring all the courses that we have to offer. So you'll update that with your counselor, and then we'll really dive in about how to use Naviance a little bit more, because sometimes we find students maybe have used it a lot in 9th grade, and then maybe there's some things they've changed, or they've changed their career choice, or the colleges they're interested in. So we'll really dive in how to use the college and career searches in Naviance. And we assign one task to them, and that they identify one career. And then they identify 3 colleges that offer a major or a certificate program for that career. So it gives students a chance to really start kind of linking that 4-year plan to a possible career and college and major choice.
Jocelyn, I have a question here
Yes.
that is related, I'm sure, to curiosity about the change in the process because of COVID. And if you've got the answer, that would be great. So this parent's daughter is in 11th grade. She's going to take the SAT for the first time on November 7th. She's heard kind of some mixed messages that the UC campus will not look at the scores. Some says that it's optional. Do you have news about which one may be true?
So what's happening is many of the colleges, including the UCs, have gone test optional. This year, for our current seniors, the Cal States are not looking at SAT scores at all, except for when they actually enroll at a Cal State next year for possible placement. The UCs have gone test optional, and there's actually some pending litigation behind that right now. So as of right now, they are test optional, and they do not have to submit writing scores. I would also caution too that many of the testing sites in our area are closed. I did send out an email a few weeks ago that did list, it had a link to all of the SAT testing sites, and many of them are closed right now. And what they're finding is this is a global pandemic, so it's not just California students who aren't able to take that. I do encourage, especially when you're looking at private schools, to please check with each admissions office to see how they're handling that. And if that parent could email me directly, I'm more than happy to send them the links to the UC SAT updates along with the SAT closure sites. And I should say that the UC system is actually going, I think it will be like 2025. They are planning to have their own standardized test in place that they've created. But again, it's definitely a process. So that's kind of their end goal. And if they don't have a test by then they won't be using the SAT or the ACT, but there is a wonderful chart. It's also posted on our Instagram that outlines each class year and kind of what the SAT is going to look like for that year based on the UC system. But like I said, right now, there's no sites in our area that are actually offering it because they're all closed. That might change by November or possibly by January. And with juniors too, it's a little early to take it. A lot of times we do recommend they start taking it like as early as March. So there's still time, because a lot of times we do encourage for our juniors to wait until they get their PSAT results, which we are planning to host in January, and then they can really see what they need to focus on. So I hope that helps answer the question. But if that parent emails me, I'm more than happy to send them all the links with the information.
You got a thank you from that parent.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay. Am I good to move forward, or any other questions on this? Okay. So January, again, continuing those schedule changes, we have our dual enrollment registration again for our kinesiology class. As I just mentioned, we are planning to have our PSAT for our juniors and limited spaces for our sophomores. Fingers crossed that we'll be back by then and we can offer that. And then again, we send another updated grad status letter for our juniors and seniors who may to make sure they're on track for their graduation. So now we start meeting with our juniors in small groups. So if we are still in a virtual setting at this point, it would be a video with the small groups as I discussed earlier for the 10th and the 12th graders. And here we have, by this point, a lot of students have kind of determined whether they're planning to go a 4-year route or a 2-year route. So we do have 2 different presentations and information based on what students are kind of looking for. So for our 4-year students, we're reviewing those transcripts, helping calculate their college GPA, and actually reviewing their eligibility. You'll find now in your parent portal that you can actually view your Cal State eligibility report, which is a really great report for you to review to make sure that you're meeting those A through G requirements. There is an excellent search tool in Naviance called the Supermatch College Search. And this is like the best tool ever. You can break it down by you want to go to college in a rural area with females only, and you want it to be a small with under 500 students, and you can really break it down and narrow it down to meet what you're looking for. And you can do multiple searches, which is fantastic, and save all of those searches. In Naviance 2, you will find that we have a document library that's broken down by grade level. And in there's checklists, there's important information about the UCs, Cal States, Common App, private school, and really any relevant information based on your grade level. So in the junior folder, you'll see that we have a checklist for our juniors. This is when we start to review too some of our financial aid opportunities and scholarship opportunities. The Fund Your Future magazine is an excellent magazine. We do have it linked on Naviance and on our school website to really review the types of financial aid out there, the different types of loans that are available, and how the application process works. We also talk about our scholarship opportunities for juniors to start looking forward to for their senior year through College Board, and also through our Naviance account where we post scholarships on there. Then for our 2-year kiddos, we do offer, and actually anybody can take this, I shouldn't say it's just for 2-year, I'm sorry, the ASVAB test. So typically this is a test that those students who plan to go into the military will take, and it will give them a score, and based on that score, that's what kind of job they can get within each branch. Any student is welcome to take the ASVAB. By taking the ASVAB, it does not mean you're going to go into the military. It's a completely optional test. But we do find that a lot of our students who are planning to go in the military will take this as a practice run, and we offer that in March for our students. We also review with our students the different types of programs at community college. You can go to community college to transfer to a 4-year. Some students might get an associate's degree. And then they also have certificate programs, like for example, to be a licensed vocational nurse, automotive, the fire academy. There's a lot of different certificates. And I will say we're really fortunate to live where we live because we have amazing community colleges in our area that have very signature programs. And actually Rio Hondo, you can get a bachelor's degree in automotive from Rio Hondo College. They're one of the 13 community colleges that offer a bachelor's degree. We also review with our juniors assist.org, which is a great tool that the community colleges use, especially if you're planning to transfer to a Cal State or a UC. You can see what classes you're taking at a community college and how those will transfer over and what would be accepted to a Cal State and a UC to make sure that you're on track. We also discuss the difference between our community colleges and then private vocational schools. And then again, reviewing graduation requirements, reviewing the resources available at a community college. So those are a lot of the things we do. And then again, of course, our financial aid information, all of our students will receive that same information with scholarship opportunities.
I have a few questions coming in, if you don't mind, Jocelyn. Hoping some of them are easy to answer. Let's see here. For one thing, we've got a couple questions coming in. If they aren't looking at the SATs or the ACTs, are they primarily looking for transcripts for grades? Is that what we should be focused on here?
So it depends. So the UCs use a holistic review, and if you go onto the UC's website and you type in like holistic review on their search, it will tell you what they're using. So I just want to stress that when you're applying to college, it's more than just your test score. It's more than just your GPA. They are looking at you as a whole, right? They're looking at your personal statements. They're looking at, have you taken advantage of the educational opportunities available to you? What barriers have you overcome? So there's a lot more than just what you look like on paper. The Cal States are using an eligibility index, and that varies by Cal States a little bit. Our local Cal State LA, our students that have over a 3.0 would get priority to there because that is our local Cal State. And then we also get local consideration for Cal State Northridge, which is great. So, and every Cal State kind of has an area that they work with to service those high schools in that area. And then as for the private schools, a lot of private schools started going test optional over the last few years. So again, they kind of use a holistic review also, and they're looking at so many other things than just a test score.
Wonderful. And if someone realizes they don't want to take the SATs, who should they contact for refunds or anything like that that may not have anything to do with Gabrielino?
If they go on to college, if it's for the SAT, they can go onto College Board's website. And there is a way you can cancel your test and And then for ACT, they would go on to act.org. And they would have to double check on the website what the refund policy looks like for them, for each organization.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But I do think most tests are being canceled, especially if they have an upcoming test date. So for those, they are offering full refunds from what I've seen.
Thank you very much. All right.
So in February is actually when students start selecting their classes for the following school year. I know that seems super early, but it goes by very quickly. During this time, we do offer a registration parent night to review course options and post-secondary options for students. Our plan is in February to offer a campus tour for our 9th graders. Again, we don't know if that'll be virtual or in person, but either way, we will offer something for our 9th graders. We try to do 4 throughout the year, as I said. And then we'll continue with our college application workshops. Those tend to go pretty much all the way until sometimes summer, but we are there to support every step of the way. Like I mentioned, we do have a partnership with Rio Hondo, so they offer a senior preview day where seniors who are planning to attend there get to go on campus, and they highlight their signature programs, and students get a tour, and they get to really get a feel for the campus, which is really great. We're continuing to offer that academic support. And then we also are following with our seniors about their FAFSA or their California DREAM Act. March 2nd is a huge deadline in the financial aid world for California. That is our Cal Grant, which I'll go on to the next slide because it kind of ties into that. That is our Cal Grant priority consideration deadline. So in order to be eligible to receive a Cal Grant, which can be a lot of money that you don't have to pay back, you must submit your FAFSA by March 2nd. So I highly encourage juniors and seniors, please come next week to our financial aid information night. It will cover everything you need to know and how to do your financial aid application. And we won't have to worry about that March 2nd deadline because you'll have it done way in advance. So, but you can always submit it. And if you have to go back and make changes, that's perfectly okay if that's after March 2nd, but you want to make sure that initial submission is made before March 2nd. And don't wait until March 2nd, because you never know if everyone's waiting until the last minute and the system crashes. So try to do that ahead of time. As I already mentioned, ASVAB is offered in March. And then with our Rio Hondo partnership, we have the counselors from Rio Hondo. They come out and they offer an education planning workshop for our seniors. So much like the 4-year plan that I discussed that we start with Ms. Cruz and that gets updated each year with the counselors, Rio Hondo has something very similar. So based on the student's goal, they'll sit down with a counselor from Rio Hondo, and this is all done in our College and Career Center. And last year, even during when our schools first closed, they were still able to offer this virtually for our students, which was awesome. And based on the student's goal, they'll sit down and tell them what classes they need to take, based on their placement and all of that. And PCC does the same thing, but they call it new student counseling. And they, again, will bring out counselors to Gabrielino to meet with seniors to discuss this so that students are meeting their goal and they're able to transfer or gain that certificate in a shorter amount of time. In March, we also offer our community college and career training fair. We have our local community colleges. We have some unions and trades, our military, art schools. City of San Gabriel comes, City of Rosemead that offers summer jobs. And we have a great, our Explorers program, the fire department comes out, and it's a really fun day for students to really kind of try to dive into some of their possible career choices that they're looking for in the future. I had mentioned earlier, our 8th graders typically do come to Gabrielino in March. And then we have our 8th grade parent night, which is where we discuss the course options for our incoming 9th graders. Again, that academic support is continuing with our kiddos who need it. And then our course registration is just continuing throughout the month of March for our other grade levels. In April, this is when the counselors actually go to Jefferson for 9th grade registration. I earlier had written 8th grade registration, but then I realized they won't be 8th graders anymore. They'll be coming into Gabrielino as 9th graders. So this is for 9th grade registration. Also, typically summer school registration does start with Seth and our credit recovery program in April, shortly after spring break. And then at this point, we're following with a lot of our seniors who still need to apply to community college to make sure we're getting those applications in on time. Rio Hondo College and a lot of our community colleges do offer the California Promise, which will give 1, possibly 2 years of free tuition for students who meet those enrollment steps by the deadline. And their enrollment steps are doing the application, meeting with the counselor, doing your online orientation, and registering for classes. And with our partnerships with Rio Hondo and with actually PCC too, they do help students every step of the way. So it's a great opportunity to get free tuition for 2 years, and it's steps you have to do anyway in order to enroll there. So you might as well do it by the deadline and be able to get, some, and you just have a FAFSA on file. I should say that too. But you've already done that by March 2nd, so you're solid. You're ready to go. In April too, a lot of the financial aid award letters start coming out for our seniors who are attending four-year colleges. So a lot of times we're sitting down reviewing that with our seniors and just kind of explaining, what this looks like, because this is something new and we want to be there to help you and support you along the way. We continue to monitor that graduation status. And like I said, Rio Hondo will actually come out to Gabrielino and assist students with their registration appointments. We've also been very fortunate with Rio Hondo with their disabled students services program, that they have come out to do intakes for our students who have IEPs or 504 plans or possible medical conditions. And they will do the intakes on campus. So it makes it a little bit easier so you don't have to go to their campus to try to find where the office is and it's this big, big place. They'll come to Gabrielino and help with that along the way, which is so fantastic that they do that. April, scholarships. Scholarships are free money, and I couldn't encourage it enough. Apply to every scholarship that you possibly can. In April, we do open up our senior scholarship survey, and a lot of these are scholarships that will be awarded at our senior awards night. That's typically sent out shortly after spring break, and it's due by the end of April. So I encourage you, if you're a senior, to remember that one, because when you see that email from me, that's one of the most important things you need to do. Okay. Oops. Okay, and then in May 1st is the universal deadline to submit what's called your SIR, Statement of Intent to Register. And this is for our students who are planning to attend four-year universities. Okay, and that typically goes along with paying your enrollment deposit. There's no exceptions to this rule. If that is the school's deadline, that is the school's deadline, okay? A lot of times too, if you have been offered a waitlist spot, you need to accept your offer to be on the waitlist. And then typically after that May 1st deadline, as they start reviewing who's SIR, then you could possibly be accepted off of the waitlist, okay? Seniors must verify their college of attendance if they are offered a Cal Grant. So you will receive a letter from the Cal Grant system to log in to be able to verify what college you're planning to attend. Also during May, what we do is called our post-secondary or senior survey. And we want to know where you guys are going, right? For me, this is the funnest part of my job, because I get to see all the amazing things you guys are doing and where you're off to, and it's amazing to see. So that's a big part that we're doing in May. We also have AP testing, which is a big part of May too. That's like the first 2 weeks. And then our seniors will be starting to order their transcripts, and this does include if you're planning to go to a community college, because they will need proof that you've graduated. And the colleges will also need proof that you've completed the classes that you said you were planning to take. Okay, again, we're continuing to monitor that graduation status, the academic support all the way, starting to finalize that summer school list for our credit recovery kiddos. And then schedule changes may be made based on the AP or specialized courses or honors lists that the counselors will receive for the upcoming school year. As I mentioned earlier, juniors will receive a summer checklist. And this has hyperlinks to everything. It kind of goes through everything you need to know for what you should be prepping for during the summer. So we'll have links to the personal insightful questions, to the Common App personal statements, if there's changes to the SAT, all of that will be hyperlinked on there for you, and it's a checklist. You can go into the junior checklist right now, and junior folder on Naviance, and we do have it on there if you want to just get a rough idea of what it looks like, but I just want to say that this information could change by next year if you're a current junior, yeah. So the junior checklist that we sent out in May was for this year's seniors. Sorry, my days are all mixed up. So it is something you can look at if it's something you're interested in, to kind of what it looks like, but the information may change by next year, which is why we send it out before school ends, because we want to make sure we have the most up-to-date information for you, that you're prepping over the summer for what you need for your upcoming senior year. Any questions, Heather? We good? Okay.
Nope, everyone seems caught up. I have to tell you, Jocelyn, I have a 9th grader myself. I am learning so much.
I'm glad. I know this is a
Super
lot of
excited.
information, but this is everything. This is a portion of what the counseling department does. So I didn't want to leave anything out because it's a big process, and we have a lot of services we provide, and so we're
You do. It's really, really complete. And at the end of this, I'm going to want to hear, I feel like my takeaway so far is like Naviance, like for our 9th graders, for our younger ones, you know what I mean? Just to kind of familiarize ourselves.
Slide.
Ooh, that's what I was thinking. I was predicting. Okay, very good. Let's keep going.
All right. So for summer, the counselors do work up until the 2nd day of summer school. And then after that, we return at the beginning of August. Okay, so I just wanted to caution on that. So if there is something that you needed during that time, we are off. But again, up until that 2nd day of summer school, we are there for you guys. Juniors, we encourage them to continue to research their colleges using that checklist that we've sent out and scholarship opportunities. Juniors can register for an August SAT if available. Again, we don't know what that will look like next year. We encourage students to take advantage of volunteer and summer research opportunities. We do have a lot of things that do come our way that are free, or there's even ones that offer stipends, in engineering and medicine and art. So we do send those out, and we've been posting a lot already in Google Classroom. I have 3, I think I've already posted in there. So I encourage you to take advantage of those opportunities. If the student is taking an off-campus summer school class, please arrange for that final transcript to be sent to Gabrielino by the end of your summer school course. And this does include the Jaime Escalante math courses that are taken at Gabrielino and at Jaime Escalante. We do offer work permits. We offer them all year, but they're also available during the summer too. So if you happen to get a job, you can email me or Mrs. Fuentes, and we are happy to assist you with that process. And then dual enrollment is another great option to really get some summer enrichment. You can earn some college credit. You get to take the classes for free. You just have to pay for, like, if there's materials or a textbook. The classes at Gabrielino that we offer, the kinesiology classes, those ones, you don't pay for anything. We completely cover all the material costs, and we have the CPR mannequins for one of the classes, and it's a first aid class, and all of that is provided free of charge for the student. So dual enrollment classes, it's a great way to earn some college credit and really to get some enrichment. So you may be asking, how can I support as a parent? And as Heather just said, Naviance, Naviance, Naviance. So register your Naviance account. You would, if you're a 9th grade parent, you would have received a little card over the summer and a mailer with your registration code. If you don't know it, just email me. I'm more than happy to give it to you. Even if you're a parent of an older student, I'm more than happy to send you your registration code, or you may have registered it and just forgot, and that's fine. I can reset your password. If you have 2 or more students that are currently in high school, I can actually link your accounts together. So when you would log in, you'll be able to choose which student you'd like to view. And if you've had a student who's already graduated from Gabrielino, I can link those accounts too, so you don't have to create a new account. So feel free to email me, and I'm more than happy to do that for you, and I can walk you through the process. As I mentioned before, please join the Google Classrooms for the individual counselors and for the College and Career Center. That's the CCC, that's me. Lots and lots and lots of great information on there. And ask questions. We are here to help. Email right now is probably best, but we all do have district cell phones. So like mine is forwarded from my office. So if you call my office, it'll automatically come to my cell phone and I can answer. Email's great too, because it's so quick to answer. Or we could always set up individual meetings, whatever you want. But we're all here to help you, our entire counseling department.
Hey, Jocelyn, do you prefer your SGUSD.net account for parent correspondences, or
either one's fine.
Either one, wonderful.
Yeah, I check my junk often, and it seems that the parent emails aren't getting blocked anymore like they used to a few years ago. So yeah, either one's fine. And Heather, if you want to put my email in the chat, that's
already done.
Both of them. Either one's fine.
I'll put the second one as well. Okay, yeah. You got it.
Okay, cool. And then I just encourage you, talk to your students about their interests. What are their post-secondary plans? Have that conversation. What are you interested in? Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, let's go on Naviance, and there's a career search tool that we can do, and we can start looking at some things. Ask them what they're interested in. And if they really don't know, there's so many great things in Naviance to help you explore that. there's a great tool called Road Trip Nation that actually has small video experts from people that work in the field, and they tell you how they got in the field and what they do. And you can really get to see almost like a virtual tour of somebody who works in that position. Like I said, there's career searches on there. There's a Supermatch college search. There's so many great tools in there. So I would really encourage you to use that. Check your parent portal often, check your emails often, and then attend the parent information nights that we have. These are a great way to get different information and how you can help support your student.
Jocelyn, I have a question here that I'm sure is a question many, many, many parents have. Will it be better to take a regular class and get an A, or take an AP class and get a C? Which one's better on their transcript? Do you have advice along those lines?
Well, I think we don't, first of all, that's a big prediction to make on what a student is going to get, because it could also vary. Is this a student's first time taking an AP class, or are they used to more of a rigorous curriculum? So the colleges are looking at, did you take the educational opportunities available to you? But then also, you don't want to be taking too many AP classes where you might not be successful in any of them. You know, you don't want to overdo it or not have time for extracurriculars or other things on your plate. So I don't really think there's a clear-cut answer to that question. I think it can vary by student. But I do think that students need to, you know, definitely challenge themselves, you know, try an AP class out and see if it's for you. But I also think I wouldn't want a student to put themselves in a position where they're taking too many classes and overexerting themselves with too many extracurriculars, and maybe just not enjoying themselves. So I hope that helps.
That was an honest answer. That was a good one. That was good. That was good, Jocelyn.
Because at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that your kids are healthy, you know, with their mental health. And that's why we have this, on my next slide, I'll get to it, this wonderful wellness center, and we have these amazing interns for mental health support. So a big part of it is balance. And Heather and I were actually just talking before when I started about, you know, balancing our own lives in this virtual world. So I think that's also important. You know, we tell students that all the time, but to do it for ourselves too, and as parents too. So I think that's really important. Okay, and then move on to the next one. So our resources, Google Classroom, I feel like I've said that a million times tonight, but again, please join. We have so much great information on there. Naviance, join, great information. We do have Rio Hondo outreach support. So Mark Gomez is our Rio Hondo outreach rep, and he's available to meet with students. He's offering workshops. And that can also be for our students who want to take a college class while they're in high school. When we are back in person, like every year since I worked at Gabriel, we do get a representative from Cal State LA once a year. This year, due to the virtual setting, they're not offering that, but they are offering different workshops for our students, which is all posted on our Google Classroom in their admissions office. So we do get different college reps who are kind of a regular on campus and just part of our college and career center, and the students know them. And Mark is amazing, and he is a wealth of knowledge about the community college system as a whole. So even if you're not sure about Rio Hondo, you can always meet with him, and he'll direct you in the right way. If there's a program that they don't offer and he knows of another community college that does, he'll definitely direct students to where they should go. Work permits, as I mentioned, if you're planning to get a job, please email Mrs. Fuentes or myself, and we'll help organize that for you and get that processed. Our wellness center is really great. It is on the Gabriel website. There's a link to our wellness center. It's gone virtual also. And in addition to that, we have a peer helping program. So if you're looking for a peer helper, you can always email your counselor or email me. And from there, we can help set you up with a peer helper, which is coordinated with Mr. Buddy and Mr. Saporito. Along with our school-based mental health services. So those all kind of go hand in hand with just making sure that, in addition to being college and career ready, your mental health is really important to us and making sure that you're healthy. Embedded time is on our Wednesday mornings, and in that we're doing our social emotional learning to make sure, again, our kids are feeling good and we can help support along the way. And then after that, we do alternate each week. One week is period 135, the next week is 246, and there's an intervention period offered where teachers are inviting students to go, and students can drop in to get extra academic support that they need from those teachers. And then teachers are also offering office hours. So after school, they have those, and on Wednesdays too. And so they can meet with their teachers if they need some extra support or maybe need to finish like a project or different things, so they can coordinate with our teachers about that. And then we are on social media. So we have an Instagram and a Twitter. Our Instagram is really, really active because years ago kids were on Twitter and now they're kind of on Instagram. So we're on both, you know, to try to get that information out to everybody. But please follow us. We do share a lot of information. I try to post like one thing a day, sometimes more, about all of our workshops that we're having, our college visits, any of our virtual sessions that are offered, the college fairs this year. So all of that is on there. And I will leave it for any questions that we may have. So I understand that was a ton of information. And I believe, Heather, this has been recorded, correct?
Correct. I think I missed 2 minutes in that beginning there, but we've got the bulk of it. Actually, we have a guest that is just kind of chatting up the box just a little bit. We've got Principal Heinrich just added something, but I think, Sharon, you may have added it to just the panelists as opposed to the attendees. So she says, a representative from UCLA who was presented at Gabrielina always said it was better to get an A or B in a college prep class than a C in an honors or AP course. And she would agree with everything Jocelyn said and would encourage students to take honors and AP courses in areas they are strong in. So they should not take an AP or honors course just for the sake of taking an honors or AP course. And she stresses, as we all do, overall wellness and success is recommended for students. And if you haven't checked out the Gabrielina Wellness Center or the information that they're starting to develop for that, the website, it's phenomenal, and it's just warm and calming, and it's so student-centered. It's just a beautiful thing.
Staff uses it too sometimes.
There you go. There you go. We're a whole community, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see here. We have a question here. As a senior, I'm planning on going to a four-year college next year. We're planning on applying for a Cal grant. And there's one thing we're unsure about. There is an income ceiling of the Cal grant. They're listing $101,700, but we're not sure if it's adjusted gross or total income. Do you have that kind of information, or is there someone you should contact?
There's a chart that breaks it down. It's also based on family size for each income ceiling. So if they email me, I'm more than happy to send them the chart. It's also in the Fund Your Future magazine, but it does break it down. And also the amount of Cal grant that you would get, it varies whether you are awarded Cal grant A, B, or C, and also what type of institution you go to. So whether you go to a UC, a Cal State, or a private school, or a community college too for some of the Cal grants. So if they email me, I can send them, there's a complete chart that would break it down by their family size.
Wonderful. You mentioned the whole child, right? You mentioned just like that the UCs, the Cal States, you know, they're not just looking at those transcripts. They're really looking at many elements that go into that kiddo. And we got a question here about extracurriculars. And are there any recommendations, like how are students supposed to get involved in extracurricular activities or any type of extra activities, you know, with COVID and with these, you know, barriers they have now?
So as I mentioned before, this isn't unique to California, right? This is everywhere. But ASB did have a club rush, I think it was last week or the week before. So we do have clubs on campus that students are able to join. I know our speech team is competing virtually. FBLA has some stuff coming up. You know, so there are ways kids can get into extracurriculars. What the colleges are really looking for when it comes to extracurriculars is the duration that the student has done it for and the commitment to it. So if you're just joining your senior year, I'm going to join 5 clubs so I have something to put on my application, that's not going to look as strong as maybe 1 or 2 clubs that you've been involved in since freshman year, maybe even prior to freshman year. Or even it's an outside activity that you do, for example, with your church, or, you know, I've had students who have been like ballerinas that have done it since they were 5 years old, or played piano. There's a lot of things that you can do outside of school too that you can include on your application. But again, they're looking for the leadership, they're looking for that commitment to that activity. So, and I would highly encourage you for that. So we did, in our embedded time, whoever their embedded time teacher is, we did post information about Club Rush. And then I know a lot of the clubs, they all do have Instagram accounts. So if you are planning to join a club, you can look at the Club Rush information that was posted. You can always contact me and I can send it to you, or check out ASB's Instagram. I think they have a lot of the clubs that follow them.
Wonderful. And I actually just got a question about where we can find the recording for this. I'm posting right now the Parents as Partners website, which includes our calendar. I'm sure that's where all of you may have clicked to enter our room today. And then there's actually a drop-down there's a drop-down menu for the recordings in our whole series, and I'm posting that direct link for you right now as well. So when we are done here, we tend to get things loaded on within 24 to 48 hours. We'll be posting them via YouTube, and then that way one can pick translations as well. So you will expect to see this posted, you know, hopefully by Saturday morning. That would be the hope. Let's see here. Okay, we've got a question that might have to do, and if this is something that you're going to be talking about the financial aid meeting next week, but we've got a question. Could you quickly answer if it's recommended to link tax forms to the FAFSA application?
So there is, so on your FAFSA application, for those who are not aware, there is a way to directly link your tax return directly onto your financial aid application. FAFSA does recommend doing that because it will automatically load all of that information from your tax return directly onto your application. And it's verified because it's verified through the IRS. If you prefer to do it manually, then what the schools will require later is for you to actually request a tax transcript from the IRS to be sent to those individual financial aid offices. So it might be one less step for you to cut out. I would say majority of my students are able to do it. If a parent does not have a social security number, a lot of times they're unable to do it. So that could be something that may get in the way, or sometimes they're just not linking because of a technical difficulty, but majority of parents do end up linking their tax information over. And that, again, will be covered next week in the financial aid night.
Thank you. This person has yelled with an exclamation mark at the end. Thank you. Real quickly, just out of curiosity, I'd love to see in the chat, what grade level are your students? Are they freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors? Kind of for our own knowledge. We've got a parent of a senior here, 11th grade, wonderful. Keep it going, seniors and juniors so far. Seniors, juniors, seniors, juniors, seniors, juniors. Not surprising, right? Wonderful. And we've got some sophomores represented. Makes sense.
All juniors and seniors are coming next week to financial aid night.
There you go. There you go. It would definitely apply. Fantastic. Yep. Yep. Wonderful. So we do have the majority of them are 11th and 12th graders, but we do have just a little peppering of 10th and 9th in there as well. Wonderful. Are there any other questions for Jocelyn before we wrap up our Parents as Partners learning series tonight? Wonderful. I will scroll up there now. Thank you. I'm so glad that this was helpful. We do have a question about who reads the personal statements. That seems like a lot to do. Do you read over the essays as well, or are there admin or teachers who actually can assist?
So if a student shares them with me, they can email me and ask, and then typically we do it through a Google Doc right now, which seems to be the easiest because I can comment directly on there. Also, they can check with their counselor if they would like their counselor to review it. And then I would also encourage them, if it's for the UCs, if it's the PIQs, the personal insightful questions, please attend one of our workshops that we have coming up.
Wonderful. Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining us today. We're just so happy to have you, and we're really happy to have shared really a great overview of what's going on at GAB, because GAB is an amazing place to be, and it's just, we're really lucky to have you there, and we are just really excited that where our eagles get to fly under your care. That rhymed. Do you hear that? That was awesome. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us tonight at Parents as Partners. Please check the calendar. We'll be adding things here and there and probably going to a monthly model. And we hope that you let us know what other sessions you would like to see. Have a great evening, everybody. And thank you very much to Perla and Bonnie, our wonderful translators today. Wonderful. There you go. Thank you so much. I'm so glad it was helpful. Wonderful.
Somebody asked, did you see my question at the beginning of the webinar?
We hit it. Yep, we hit it. Oh yeah. Yeah, Perla, can I help you? Can you navigate back up? I don't know if you can. Can you type in the chat for me? I'm happy to answer any question you have. Thank you so much for attending. We'll be closing up the room shortly, honoring your time tonight and time with your families. Thank you for joining Parents as Partners. There we go. Jocelyn, thanks so much for everything tonight. So appreciate